Hey guys, welcome to day 2. This is day 2 of Wake Up and Remember. And today's topics, we will be diving into the 3D to 5D discussion. We're talking about dimensions and or densities, whichever way you want to look at them. And we're also going to talk about emotional alchemy, which is probably the number one thing that I talk about, and the number one tool tool that I believe is the secret to becoming who we really are. So let's dive in on the discussion of 3D to 5D. Now, I don't know how deep we want to go, and I know I have spoken about this in my own sort of socials and things like that, with podcasts or posts or whatever, with the dimensions, and my opinion of it continually changes. And I think that's part of being on different awarenesses as we move along in our journey, and as we get to find out more information and listen to other people and take on board new ideas and sort of new possibilities. And like we were talking about yesterday with the truth testing and finding your own yeses and nos, I can see where these new ideas come in and butt them up against my field and go, okay, this feels sort of true for me. So, what I was believing before may not have been correct. I may have believed that with that amount of knowledge, but now I'm over here with this amount of knowledge and now I believe something different. So I used to speak of the dimensions. So the 3D and 5D is representative of a third dimension and a fifth dimension. So we'll probably talk about both of these subjects at the same time. And the way that it was described to me in this, made a lot of sense was, the first dimension was, just a point. It was just on its own. And then a second dimension is from one point to another. It's like a straight line. It's remember, I don't know, it depends if you're around my age or not, but when we first started using a computer, they would be considered 2D animation, where we were making those little stick figure men run. So it's like the first is, the horizontal, the vertical. So we're bringing it into 2D, and then the 3D is, okay, we're giving it depth now. So then the 3D becomes this actual 3D image, like I am here right now talking to you. This is our 3D. This is where we're living right now. We're living as a 3D human, of course, with our soul as well, but we're living in this 3D universe. And then people are talking, or you may or may not hear about people talking about the 5D. What is the 5D? And there's a lot of different ideas and concepts of exactly what the 5D is. And my mind has changed a lot about this as well. And the more you sort of dive into it, so it doesn't really matter which way that you want to believe it, but I have found belief in listening to a lot of different people sort of speak about that dimensional reality in different ways, and I can see where the truth lies, but now I see it just a little bit differently. But the whole concept of it is, the 5D is, I'm going to use it in a hierarchical type description, saying that 3D is here and 5D is here, and even though nothing is in that sort of levels of lowness and highness, but I just want to do it as sort of more of a descriptive type tool. So if you look at the 1D, 2D, 3D, right? So 3D is where we are here, we're all 3D. Now The 4D is like the in between the 3 and 5. You don't hear as many people talking about the 4 because the 4D is like a little bit of the 3D and a little bit of the 5D. So they say the 5D is what this whole universe is, what this whole level of consciousness is. It's like the base level of everything else that's out there, and us having this 3D human experience is like we're the only ones doing it. We are the only ones sort of living in this 3D world where we are experiencing time on a linear scale. So it's from point A to point B, where we sit here and we see our past as behind us and we see our future as in front of us. That is part of the 3D, versus in the 5D, where everything exists at once at the same time. I will be talking about time on day 4. But in the 5D, which is where all the other beings, if you will, or other possibilities of life outside of this earth and this 3D all live on the 5D. There is talk that this planet Earth was or is a 5D planet. However, there are the negative entities and powers that be who have tried to keep us away from our 5D selves and have put us into this 3D shell. I have heard a lot of people believe that, like, a lot of this is going to sound really weird and may not be believable for you, and I don't actually have the right answer, but I'll give it to you anyway. You can butt it up and see if it feels true for you. Way back thousands and thousands of years ago, the negatives, or the ones that didn't want our success of living in that 5D and achieving all the things we wanted to do, had installed this tech, because out in the 5D it's instant manifestation. It's you can get what you want when you want. You can do what you want when you want. You can feel how you want when you want. It's not this 3D life where we have to work through our emotions and feel all this pain and work hard towards things. And 5D things just happen because we just exist, because it all exists at once. And it can be hard to understand if I keep talking about it, but eventually it sort of makes sense. But if it's the first time you're hearing it, it's not going to make too much sense. But the moon, apparently, this is one story, is full of tech that is shielded onto the earth, which keeps us from the 5D into the 3D. So because there's a lot of tech out there, there's a lot of stuff that we can't even think of because we are 3D and we don't know all this. We don't know things until people talk about them or people teach about them, because we don't know if we don't know. So there's a lot of stuff out there that we have no clue about, which is fascinating to me. But this tech apparently is holding us from our 5D selves. So technically, these human bodies have the ability to be a 5D, not personality, but a 5D being, if we do all the things that I'm going to talk about that get us to this new level. So when people talk about us getting from the 3D to the 5D, what we're doing is we're escaping that everyday mundane human life of going to work, doing your job, getting your money, coming home, doing your jobs, watching your kids, making dinner, having this boring existence of life, thinking that we've got to work hard for our money and then we save it, we retire and do all these things in this scale and follow all these rules and beliefs that everyone's told us. That's us living in the 3D, where we don't believe that we're magical or powerful, or that we can manifest what we want, or we can alchemize our emotions, or we can change the situation around us, or we can change our life path or our timelines or anything like that. In the 3D, it's like we're stuck in this like sometimes words aren't going to describe exactly what I'm feeling, and it is more of a feeling. It's that feeling of, oh, like, this is my body language. This is how I'm describing it. This is, you know, this is what the 3D is, and this is whole part of my journey. So I didn't want to feel like that. I knew that there was more out there. And that's why there's so many people like me going on this journey, because we're trying to reach that 5D. That 5D is that space where we know exactly who we are. We know that we are energetic beings. We know that we are a human with a soul. We know that we are connected to everyone and everything on this earth. We know that we have other fractals of our soul existing out there in the universe that we can draw on and listen to and get advice from. We know that we are powerful manifestors. We know that we can change our timelines. We know that we cannot let any of those daily situations sort of affect us the way that we would in the 3D. Out in the 5D, anything and everything is possible. It's the same as what I say about consciousness, where we are infinite and complete at the same time. And that's exactly what the 5D is, and that's what we're all trying to get to. And they talk about the 3D to the 5D as this place over here, this new earth that's going to be built, and everyone talks about it differently. And some people even have the image that, you know, this is going to be our 3D earth, and then right next to it's going to be this new earth, and you know, all these people are going to be over here in this new earth, and all these 3D people are going to be stuck and living in their sad little lives type thing. And I can't tell you exactly what is the right thing. I can't tell you what your 3D to 5D is going to look like. I would suggest you listen to a lot of people talk about it and find what is true for you. For me, for my own personal belief, for what I believe is true for me right now, is that it's just a state of consciousness. It's just our awareness changes. We're still here living in this world, in this body, on this planet. It's just our awareness changes. It's the way we speak may change. The way we act may change. The way we react to things may change. Our circle of friends may change. Our way of living may change. Our beliefs will definitely change. And to me, that's what I see us moving from 3D to 5D. So when you're in those two different places, you know, I'll give you a pretty simple example. So if you're in a 3D mind state, to me it's so just say you're working and you got fired and you came from nowhere, you weren't prepared, your life was already pretty stressful, your relationship was a little difficult, money was always tight, and then you lose your job. So the 3D reaction, and this is how I would have reacted only just a few short years ago, would have been, oh my God, this is so not fair. I hate this company. I hate my boss. I hate these people I work with. It's all their fault. It's not fair. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm sick of this life. Life is too hard. I'm never going to get another job. It's going to be so hard. I'm not going to have money. We're going to lose our house. We're going to be living on the street. I won't be able to feed the kids. I won't be able to do this. Blah, 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 blah. That's 3D. That's you looking at that situation in this energy draining, poor me state, where you're looking at it on this lower, just an example of sort of what's happening around you type feeling. Instead of looking outside of the problem, you're looking in the problem. Versus if you're in a 5D state and you were doing that and you lost your job, it'd be, okay, that's interesting. I wonder why that happened. Was this job something that I wanted to do? And you could truth test that. You could look at that and go, I didn't really enjoy it, and I know that I needed to make a change and do something that I really enjoyed doing. And then having that sort of thought would then possibly lead you to getting an offer in, you know, maybe a different field or something that you know you really wanted to move into, or maybe it gave you that inspiration to go study something that you've always wanted to learn, or you've always wanted to move into that employment field of. It would seem like an opportunity instead of that sad poor me hindrance. You would also look at that and go, how does that make me feel? So when someone fires me when I thought that I was, doing a good job at my job, but I'm being fired, how does that make me feel? Well, that makes me feel like I'm not worthy, or that makes me feel that I'm not doing enough. When else have I felt like that? And you could work through some of those emotions and find out that you have felt like that when you were a child, or when you were at school, and you would find a way to release that emotion. So that actual event gave you that tool of working through that emotion of not feeling good enough or not doing your job properly, which would then elevate you into a higher vibrational state, which is then moving you higher and higher up into that real 5D state. Because in that 5D state, we know that we are these beautiful divine human beings, and everything that is happening around us is happening for us. It's not happening to us. So that 3D version of self is that real sort of stuck state. And there's a lot of the world that sits in that state. There's a lot of people who sit in that sadness and low vibrational energy, thinking that the whole world's coming down on them and against them, and that it's not fair and it's everyone else's fault, and they don't know how to see it any differently because they haven't been taught any differently. And they could also be having been brought up in situations where that's all they were taught by their parents as well, or teachers, or the people that they spent their time with. So they don't know how to get out of it. And that's why there's more and more people like me talking about this type of thing, so that you could start to get that awareness that there is another possibility. There is another way to look at things. There is another way to, sort of view what's happening around you. And I know it is a very minority amount of people who are trying to work their way up to this 5D type existence, and this realization that life isn't working against them, and that they can create these amazing, wonderful lives. And I don't think I know this sounds very negative and not optimistic, but I don't believe we will get everyone up to this 5D state. But the beauty of being in this 5D state, and this all comes down to the vibration of the universe and the way that we operate. If there's enough of us that move it up, we're going to increase the mean average of the vibrational frequency of this planet. And I don't know how you measure vibrational frequency. Vibrational frequency, I'll just quickly go over that. I don't think I've spoken about that. So to me, vibrational frequency is just, where our energetic vibration currently sits. So part of the dimensional talk is the level of vibration. So when we move on past the 5D and we go up 9, 12D, you can keep going up. A lot of people have spoken about a lot higher dimensions as well. So those dimensions are represented like levels of vibration. So the more we clear that 3D crap out of our mind, our vibration increases, which allows us then to access this higher vibrational state, dimensional density, where we can see different things. This is where we can start to connect to other collectives. This is where we can start to see our existence more on that energetic frequency as, light and sound. And we'll talk about this when I talk about the light language as well. So as we go up, and this is why those densities, I think, have been created and are some sort of knowledge for people to understand, is that as we increase our vibration, we're moving up in those densities or dimensions, and we're bringing in that higher vibration, so that we can access these more soul self type connection and activities. Because when we're sitting down in that 3D, it can be super difficult to try and access any of those things that we talk about that are up on a higher vibrational scale, because we're not there yet. When we're sitting down in this 3D state, or this vibration which is really low and not going to attract much from, you are not going to be able to do any of these other high vibrational things. And I think that's why those dimensions have been created, is so that it's that measure that we get to help us know where we're at and know how to get us over to that next spot. And it's just a tool. I believe everything is just a tool to try and get us into the most highest vibrational state that we can, and using the thought of dimensions or densities or vibrational frequencies is just a tool to get us into those places. Excuse me. So if you want to move on up from that 3D to 5D, it is that understanding of getting to that lower vibration to that higher vibration. And when we talk about manifestation, you'll see that Abraham Hicks, everyone knows who she is if you've ever looked into manifestation. She talks about, the different levels of vibration and the emotions and where they sort of sit on that vibrational scale. And it's the same thing for us, trying to move into those higher vibrational frequencies to access these different dimensional soul skills, talents, techniques, people, whatever you want to like to call it. But we do need to get up to that state. And it seems very hierarchical when we're with these levels and stuff, but it's just a tool. I think that as humans, we need that. We need these words and instructions and descriptions of things in this sort of level sense, so this human, the analytical part of this human can understand. Because if you went straight to someone who was sitting deep in their 3D and had no clue about spirituality or healing or trying to raise their vibration, excuse me, and you said to them, okay, go view your whole existence as a pure consciousness where anything and everything exists at once, and clear your shit out, get happy, and access everything, it would be like, wait, what? So I think talking about those dimensions and the scales and the levels is giving us tools to move towards our certain level of skills or awarenesses, using these words very lightly, but it's to get us into that state. So it's, like even driving a car and you're looking at a speedo, you're getting faster because you can see the speed going up. They're just measurable tools for us to move forward, if that makes sense. That's how I see it. Because I don't need those tools anymore. I can really sort of see it now as a collective, and honestly I think that is the ultimate goal. But if you can get your brain into that thought of seeing it all as this everythingness, every single thing you can imagine all at once, and your goal is to allow whatever happens to happens, and for you to work along your highest timeline by making the most expanses and highest vibrational choices through your life. That's the key. If you can get that concept in that way, it's so much easier. But if you can't, you can use these levels to get there. You can go, okay, I'm really stuck in this 3D, let's move up. And it's the same with the emotional scale that Abraham Hicks uses. Anger and depression and all that are down here, and you know, joy and wonder are all up here, which makes perfect sense. You always feel better when you're joyful and, you know, in wonderment than sort of sitting down here being sad and depressed. So if you need to use those levels, use those levels, but it's all about increasing that vibration and getting to that higher level. And I'll just go back quickly to what I was saying earlier. I have read, I don't know if this is true, but they were saying that when people increase their vibration and say that if we're going to use labels, that I get to my 5D state and I'm in this beautiful high vibrational state all the time, that me being in that state then lifts the energetic frequency of 40,000 people. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless of that figure or that number or whatever that means, if you look at like just the earth, right, and you know there's all these people and you know we're all sitting at this vibrational frequency or this level, we're all sort of sitting down here 3D, then these people start moving up to 4D or 5D or start increasing their vibration and they start going up, and then this person over here who's, you know, really happy and enjoying life, and then their friend is saying, oh my god, why are you so happy, your life is so crap. And then they start sharing what they're doing and what they believe. This person's like, oh, okay, I see it, and they start moving into it, and then this person tells their family and their family tells their friends, and they get more and more people. And as we get more and more people up here, this whole average where we are sitting down here, even though these people over here are never going to understand what you're saying, they're never going to look at any different way that you're talking about, we're going to lift it. So instead of the average being down here, the average of the planet comes up here. And I think that's one of the things where they talk about the new earth is lifting that whole average, because we know we're not going to get every single person to do the same thing, and there's no point in doing that anyway, because you know, in the existence of everything, we still have everything. It still all exists at once. So by getting more and more people, we are lifting, it's really hard to do this when it's opposite. We are lifting that average from here to here, and the more and more people who do it, even if it's only these ones, we're still lifting the average, and we're, you know, we're holding the frequency for these people as well. And these people over here who are at that high level of vibration, they're sending all the good vibes to these people. They're not up here going, you people down there, you can all suffer. It's like, I'm sending you love, and they really want you to come up and, you know, join everyone. So that's how I see the 3D to 5D. That's how I see our dimensions. But the ultimate key to getting from that 3D to 5D is the emotional alchemy. And I use that not only because I think it sounds really cool, and I know there's so many cool words when you look into spirituality and healing, but it's the essence of what it meant. Because if you go back to the actual alchemists back, okay, say we go back in time, because we're linear, right? We're 3D, but in the whole existence of it, the alchemists were the ones who believed that they could transform a cheaper metal into something good, like into gold or something. And it's the analogy of that I use it with our emotions. So we are using whatever we're feeling and we're turning it into something beautiful, and we don't need to look at everything that doesn't feel good. And let's be honest, there are things that happen in our life that do not feel good, and you can't get away from that. Like, this is part of our human experience. We're still a soul having our human experience, so we're still going to experience these things that don't feel good, but raising our vibration and having that broader understanding of everything is going to allow us to be able to move through it in a different way versus where we would as a 3D type person. Excuse me. So the emotional alchemy is where we're looking at our emotions, our beliefs, our codings, our stories, our values, all those things that we're holding on to that we believe are ours and that we believe to be true. But when we do a little deep dive and have a little look at it, guess what? They're not true. It's like, and there can be a lot. And I've spent a lot of time in it. I felt like it was a full-time job for a long time. So There's so many. You think about how many stories and emotions and experiences you've had up to that point, and it depends on how old you are, but it's not just in this lifetime, it's when we're looking at other lifetimes as well. And for the 3D, it's in our past lives. So that is something we can access and look at as well to help us heal some of these things that come up. So for me, where it all started, I did find, I think I started with manifestation, which was where I learnt the core belief of increasing, the emotional scale vibration. So I was sort of residing down in that angry, sad sort of level down the bottom, and I wanted to get up, but I still had all these beliefs and things that were happening around me that I didn't like, so I had to find ways to release them, which then led me on to tapping, which was one of the biggest tools I used to help me to release or alchemize some of those emotions. And tapping is the art of using our meridians to tap out stored energies from emotions that we haven't been able to release. So it was the art of really getting into something that you were feeling. So if I was angry about something, there is another type of tapping called EFT, and they sort of just give it, they say a certain statement, etc., to sort of work on that emotion a little bit, whereas with RRT, it is a little bit different. So we actually tap and say the things that we feel, which is like, because you think about it when you were younger, and if you were really angry or you were really sad, what'd your parents say to you? Stop crying, it's fine, take a deep breath, suck it up, you'll be all right. Oh my god, why are you so angry? Here, have a lolly, now you feel better. Why are you upset about that? Who cares? You're wrong, this person's right. You think about all those things that happened to you when you were a kid, and you can see where they get stuck and they don't get released. So the art of tapping is where we can actually say the opposite of all those things that we were told not to let out. So I'm not going to go through the whole tapping process, but you just tap on meridians, and meridians are part of our body that do hold stored memories or emotions or built up energy in our system. And the art of actually tapping on them while we are actually speaking about the things that we really want to say, we're allowing that emotion to complete. And once that emotion is complete, we're able to release it. So I use tapping a lot, and I used to really go into a lot of those emotions so that I could really try and work on them and really try and get them out of my system. And sometimes you'll find, like anger is linked to so many different stories and emotions and beliefs, and there's a lot to work on. And then I started diving into other tools as well. So there are easier ways. I use clearing statements as well. So for me, if there's a thought or emotion or something that comes up that I want to release, I can sort of allow it to appear in my body, and then I can release it in an energetic state using a clearing statement or noises or things like that. There's a whole process to it. I do have programs that talk about that more in detail, but it can be as simple as a thought coming in where you're thinking, oh, kind of feel not very worthy today. That's interesting. And then I can use these clearing statements, which then help me to release that little thought or that little bit of energy that's bubbling up somewhere. It could be my chest, in my heart, it's feeling a little bit heavy, so I can release it and move it on. But I found I don't think I could have done that without doing the tapping first. For me, using the tapping was a very physical tool for me to see when the emotion was coming up. So when we're releasing that stagnant energy, there would be that essence of yawning or dry reaching or crying. It was a lot of crying. It was a lot of crying. But for me, because my body was physically doing something, I felt like I was physically releasing it. Whereas for me, with using the clearing statements, it's more these short little, let's get these little tiny ones out. Whereas the tapping really got that really deep stuff, and I could feel it. It was really deep down. I also use journaling and lots of other different tools, and allowing it to just sort of bubble up in my body and let it burn out. I have a lot of different tools, and I've listened to a lot of people and tried out a lot of things. I do randomly do different things as well, but I am consistently looking at what's coming up for me, what's taking me out of my 5D type state, if you like. So what is it in this human existence that's annoying me? Like, you know, for instance, going through, you know, Facebook and scrolling, and you go, oh, this chick, like, seriously. And it's like, hang on, why is this annoying me? Because when we start looking at those things that are pulling us out and making us not feel like a beautiful, powerful, divine, sovereign self, it's something we need to look at. It's something we need to work on. It's something that we can either release, return, and repair, or something that we need to heal, something that we need to look at. Because when we're in that 5D state, none of that crap's going to matter to you. None of it. It doesn't matter if, you know, someone who you don't like very much suddenly said they won $1 million, and I was like, but then hang on, you wouldn't not like people because you're in that 5D state. But because you see everything differently, it's not like, peace and love and happiness, because, you know, that was one of the beliefs that I had, that, you know, if you were truly spiritual and in this beautiful 5D state, then you were just sitting there, you know, in your little yoga pose or whatever, just hum whole day. That's what I thought, but it's not. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be whatever you want it to be. But when you're finding those situations or people or things happening around you that are making you feel uncomfortable, that are giving you all these feels that you don't like, it's really time to look at that and see if you can try and alchemize whatever's coming up, and see if we can turn it into something else and see what it's triggering. I also like to bring it on over, and I couldn't do that at first. This took me a while, was to access the Akashic Records. Now, the Akashic Records are like a library of everything. There's a lot of different thoughts on this. Some people think or believe that the Akashic Records for this human and for the galactics all exist at once on a certain dimension. Other people believe that the human Akashic sit in the 5D, and then the galactic Akashic sit in the 8th dimension. You can butt it up and try on whatever you want. You can believe whatever you want, but the whole theory, or the way I see the existence of the Akashic Records, is for us to give us another tool to access these memories or past lives that we have, where we have felt that same emotion or feeling that we're feeling right now in this human. So if we are having that moment where we're feeling unloved or something, it's like, it's not the first time that I felt it. So if you go back and you can access your Akashic Records, you can ask to be show me where else this has happened in my past. Show me where else I've experienced this feeling of being unloved. And if you can, or if you're open to it, you will see, this was me in, I don't know, Viking times, where, you know, I kept getting dumped by my husband. I don't know, did they have husbands like that? But you know what I mean. So you could see an example of that in Viking times, or it could take you over to, I don't know, like Mesopotamia or something where you had the same sort of relationship issue and you were feeling unloved and unwanted. And you could see it in different sort of parts of your life. Like you could even see it as a dinosaur, because today we're talking about dinosaurs in our fun day. But you could see yourself as an actual dinosaur, and where, you know, everyone wasn't your friend because, I don't know, your tail was shorter than the others or something. So you can see these different existences in your Akashics, which then you can look at and go, well, hey, I'm not only feeling unloved right now in this 3D human existence, I've also felt it like 6 other times, or at least one other time that I can draw on right here. And there is a technique that I did learn from one of our mentors, where if you can find the poo, which is the point of origin, which was that first moment that you felt like that, if you can access that through your Akashic records, you are then able to take, you can't see my hand, I am actually doing movement. So you get to take that moment from over there and collapse it all the way to now. So from that very first time that you felt like that, you can bring it all in and you can collapse it all. And that's what I find the Akashic records are for, is for, no, there's a bug in here that's making noise. Sorry, there's a bug making noise over there. But if you can find that that emotion in your past along a linear line of looking at it, and then you can collapse it from there, it'll bring it all the way back into where you are right now and allow you to release it all that way. Because there is belief that if we are working on releasing it here now in this human, it can resurface because we haven't deleted it from, excuse me, our Akashics. And it's a great tool if you can access that, or if you're open to accessing that. I found it was super difficult for me to sort of access that for a long time, so I did have to focus a lot on doing more of this human, and then eventually I was able to allow sort of using that skill to come in. But my suggestion to you is if you are looking to work on those emotions, beliefs and stories, and really get to, you know, the beautiful new you, it's really important for you to look at that emotional part. And don't do what I did, where I would constantly be looking for something. It's like, I'm feeling pretty good, must be something I can work on. Oh, remember that party I went to when I was 16 and this boy said you looked ugly? Let's look at that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go looking for it non-stop. Yes, once we get it out, let it sort of come, because some of those, if you start looking, you're going to be there forever. And I don't think we need to spend our whole lives working on that healing. I think the way I see it, like, I got to this place and I'm glad I got to this place now, but I did do a lot of work to get here, and I don't want everyone to have to do so much work. I think if we can sort of look at our own situations, use your truth testing and find, do I need to work on more emotions? Do I need to do more things right now? What do I need to work on? And start. Get a couple of skills that you enjoy doing, or you like doing, or you find are working for you. Keep open to new ones, bring new ones in, whatever you like, and use them for things as they come up. If you're sitting dead in that 3D state and you're hating life, sure, work on those main things, those main problems that are happening for you, and work on alchemizing them. Work on them first, and then really tune into your awareness, because this is my number one tool now. I just use my own awareness of everything that goes on around me. You know, whether it's my social feed, whether it's outside life, whether it's family or situations, I look at those and like, okay, this one's not feeling good. Why? And I will bring awareness to that, and I will dive deep into that and see, is it an emotion I need to fix? Is it an Akashic? Is it a cord and contract? These are also existence in the Akashics, but the Akashics is probably a whole nother topic on its own, but I will delve into whatever it is that's annoying me in that moment. And it doesn't have to be huge things where, you know, oh my God, my car crashed and I have no money, or oh, I lost my job, or anything like that. It's just, you know, it's even, oh my God, this pen just ran out of ink. Are you for real? And then it's like, hang on a minute, I'm getting really upset about this. Why? Dive into it, look into it, see where you're holding it in your body, see if there's an emotion, see if there's a deeper story, write about it, use some of the tools, whatever it is. Really look at that emotion and see if you can move it towards something else. See if you can turn it into something else. See if you can alchemize it, because using the awareness, having the tools, working on the emotions, beliefs, and stories that come up is then going to remove those layers that are holding you down and holding you back in that 3D. And then this is what's going to take you up to the 5D. Then when we get up to the 5D, there's a whole nother lot of stuff that's going to be new to us. And like the 3D stuff's pretty easy. We're all 3D. We're all living in this world. We're all having these experiences. We're all trying to get out of it. We're all not enjoying some things in life. So, but when we get to the 5D, because it's new for everyone and no one really teaches much about it, we don't learn it at school. We didn't learn it from our parents. Well, I didn't. You know, the churches are what's the word? A messed up version of, you know, kind of what we need to do. Well, that's my opinion. It's only my opinion. It doesn't have to be yours. But getting us into that state is that process. And when you start doing the spirituality in here, I'm using my hands a lot today. It's because it's all linked. It's all connected. And I am now, because I've done all this work, I am now at this level where I can see it all. But I see it all as strands of light, sound, and vibration. So everything I talk about is linked in some way. Everything is linked. Everything is connected. And as you go through that process of moving through it all, you get to that stage where you see the big picture, and it's like going, ooh. Instead of us being in this 3D, we're like, and I know which state I'd like. But so that's how I see us moving from 3D to 5D. I don't see us jumping on a spaceship and jumping into this new earth. I just see us all gaining this new awareness, removing the crap of the 3D, really starting to enjoy our lives, live our lives, and be more in tune with our own soul self, and utilize these soul-led skills and understandings and knowings, which will then in turn give us this beautiful human experience of joy, happiness, wonder, and abundance. That's how I see it, and that's what I think we're here to do. We're here to create, and we're here to experience. And I know that we're getting close to time here, but I just wanted to mention, with part of this 3D to 5D, as I was going through my own emotional journey, halfway through that, at the end of last year, my husband actually passed away, which was like a, you know, 3D human moment where you would look at it and go, that's like a fuck you moment. It's like, what the fuck? You know, I'm trying to clean out my emotions and, you know, work through all these parts of my life that I don't want to hold on to more. And then the universe like, boom, here you go. Throw this one in the basket. Like, man. And I can tell you without having this spirituality or healing knowledge, or this understanding of the bigger picture of it all and how it all is on a grander scale, I don't know if I could have coped with that as much if I was still in my, you know, sad, upset 3D state. But I do also think that even though that was not an still is not part of the 3D experience that is enjoyable or fun. I know that it was, that moment that has catapulted me to where I am now, and has really sort of slung me out there and made me look at a lot of things and made me deal with a lot of things. But by having to deal with all those things and work through all those things and use all those tools and learn how to really apply your skill, technique and knowledge, how releasing all that was also giving me that beautiful gift of learning new things, understanding new things, bringing in new ideas. It was that beautiful balance between the two. And I'm not saying that we all need to go through horrific and painful events to achieve greatness, but clearly that was part of my path and part of my journey, and something that, I needed to experience. And I know that it has really put me where I was now, because I will say that once you start going on this journey, and if you dive deep and you're fully committed and you know that you are meant for so much more, and you start seeing in this 5D manner instead of this 3D manner, things are going to drop away. Things that felt safe for your 3D human, or beliefs, or the things around you that you thought you had to have or you had to do, or was acceptable to other people, you were going to think that you need to hold on to them and that that's who you are. But it's not. When you start to get to this whole new knowing and understanding, all these things just fall away. Your friends will fall away, your everyday life will fall away, the things that you considered fun won't be fun anymore. You will have so much loss, and depends on your circles, I shouldn't say that, but for me there was so much loss, but on the other hand of that, there was so much to gain as well. And I know I'm still in that I'm always going to be in that trajectory, and that releasing and receiving that, if you want to look at it as like the figure out, it's figure 8, the infinity symbol. It's just, it's releasing and receiving, releasing and receiving. And when you're in those states, when you're fully connected to your own soul self and your own divine being, and you start to see the rewards. Well, you don't even need the rewards. It's when you're connected to your true self and you sit in that expansion and creativity of the things that you're doing every day, regardless of the outcome, with no expectation of the outcome. Life just feels fun. Like, even for me, putting out a program like this, like, even if no one purchases it ever, the whole art of me being able to create it, to write it down, to do graphics, to create sigils, to make videos, to talk about it on socials, and then to present it by speaking, it's part of that creation that made it feel all worth it. It's that part that it's the part that hits your soul, and it's so hard to describe it in words, but you get to that stage where you already feel abundant, even if you have, like no money in the bank, or not a friend inside, and you're sitting all alone in your house. You just still feel so full of love, so full of acceptance and happiness and joy and wonder and abundance. And if you're not there, it's hard to understand that, and you can sort of look at people and go, yeah, right. And I was one of those people. I'd look at people and go, oh my god, like, how do you even talk like that? Like, that makes literally no sense. You are talking smack, and you were just saying that because you want my money. And it's not. You can get to that stage where you are in that perfect existence, that perfect happiness, that perfect awesome state. And I'm not going to say you can stay there consistently. Well, you can, but I know I still dip. I know I still there's there's still moments that come up and pop up and you're like, and you know, that's just something I need to look at. That's something I need to work on, because I believe that we're all connected and we're all one. When people are doing things that we don't like, they're just literally mirroring something that we don't like about ourselves, or something we need to work on, or something we need to look at. So I hope that sort of explained my belief in the 3D to 5D, a little bit about the dimensions and densities in there, and about the emotional alchemy. Tomorrow we are talking about all the negatives and the stories that we've been taught to believe in. Tomorrow's juicy. We're talking about ascension and how I don't believe in that. There's a lot of hype words I don't believe in. Also going to talk about our source connection, which is where I have a totally individual thought on how I exist, and I don't believe in single source. And then we're actually talking about beliefs and intentions, which makes so much sense because all those topics are just my beliefs. And I think tomorrow is going to be totally super juicy. So I look forward to speaking to you all tomorrow. We are in day 2 of unlocking the time capsule. Today we are doing weird voices and weird characters. Remember when you were a kid and you'd play dress up and you would pretend to be a doctor or a nurse or a shop? You'd set up the little shops and you'd have it all set up. Or you could be animals, like you'd roll around like a dog. And well, we're going to a 4D experience. We're going to see Jurassic Park in 4D, which is something we've never done. So we are going to pretend to be dinosaurs today. And yes, that sounds super weird, but we're doing kid stuff for the next 3 weeks, and it's only day 2. So if you feel like having some fun, I invite you to go be a character or something that you used to like as a kid, or even one that you like now. Like, come on, let's be real. Like, I'm a true superhero fan. I'm not gonna lie. So it's pretty easy for me to pick characters that I like. So if there's any that you like, any little sort of closet things that you really enjoy in there, I invite you to go bring that character out today and use weird voices or weird accents, or pretend you're from a different country. Go and try that out and bring it on like somewhere in public. Like, do it at your workplace or when you go to pay for something at a shop, because why not? It's fun, right? It's fun to be fun. Anyway, guys, I will see you tomorrow.